Hey everyone, we were gone for several days and a storm had blown through. Noticed some algae forming on the wall of the pool. During my inspection, I look up the salt chlorinator and I see that the no flow light is on. Not usually a terrible indication, except for the fact that the pool is currently running and there is flow. So I crank it up to maximum speed, and as it cycles up, I'm going to take a look back down at the salt chlorinator and I see no change in its condition. While max speed generally works out the possibility of filter or salt generator obstructions, we still have a few tests we need to do to localize the problem. So let's get started. We'll kick off things by pulling out this small white cable from the bottom. This is an RJ11 connector, and this is the flow sensor connection to the device. I plug it in and remove it a couple of times in an attempt to clean the wipers on both the connector and the box that it's connected to. As I plug it back in, I see no change. So we're going to have to check from this sensor and back, as well as the connections on this box to make sure everything's okay. I have a multimeter set to diode mode so it has an audible tone when I touch the connections together. We're going to remove the connection for the flow sensor now. And as I touch the pins 3 and 4, the only pins that have a metal pin in it, I'm seeing nothing coming back on the meter while it's running. I crank it up to max and try again, and still I see no indication on the meter. The next thing I'm going to do is rule out the control panel itself. Something I would do if I got a good indication on the flow sensor. If you're not comfortable or not qualified to work on an open control panel, I advise you to skip this step. But what I'm going to do is remove these 2 screws that secure the panel in. There's a little tab on top to stick your finger in to remove the panel lifting up and out. With a small jumper, I touch pins 3 and 4 together, and immediately I see the no flow light starts flashing. Lets me know everything is working good on this box, and now I could just close it right back up. Ruling out this whole section as being any problem, we could proceed to the other side of the system. So I'll secure the front panel screws and we'll move on. First thing I want to check is that the arrow of the flow sensor is aligned perfectly with the flow of the water coming through the PVC pipe. If I was only getting a no-flow condition when the pump was on its lowest settings, I may want to ask myself if it's time to take a look at the filter and see if the filter needs to be changed, because if the filter is really dirty, then we can get that condition where it shows no flow in the low setting, but on higher settings, it seems to operate normally. The same thing applies for a severely impacted salt chlorinator that requires cleaning. With the low speed issue out of the way, we could focus our attention on the flow sensor. I shut the power just so the pump doesn't inadvertently turn on while I'm working. And I want to open up the air bleed screw right here on the top of the filter. And what this is going to do is we're going to hear a vacuum as the water rushes out and the water level drops. And that's going to make sure that when I pull out the switch, that all that water doesn't dump out because it's up to the height of the top of the filter. And that wouldn't be ideal. And when it's done, I'm going to close it back up and we could continue. I'm using a pair of channel locks just to get things started. On this one, the threads are coated with sealant, which makes it a bit difficult to get things going. And as I turn it, we're going to hear a hiss as the water level in the pipe drops, causing a vacuum. Wait for that vacuum to stop, and then I remove the flow sensor. And as I do, we can immediately see that on the switch here, it has rusted through and it's expanded. So this is no good. This is why it was broken. And this has been in here a good number of years, so I'm not really disappointed. But there's the damage. The OEM replacement cost nearly $50. And I took a look around and found a replacement a third of the price, so I thought I'd give it a shot. And we'll find out how long it lasts. I'll post in the comments below. I'll pull the replacement out of the bag, very similar to the old one. It's slightly different on the switch. It's a plastic piece instead of a metal piece, and it engages in the same fashion. And we could see the arrow pointing down like so, in the same way that little flipper would push down with the flow of the water. This one comes with a silicone O-ring at the end, so without sealant I could press a switch and insert it, and then I'm going to twist it tight. I'm going to see if this holds leak-free using that O-ring instead of using sealant on the threads. If not, I will remove it and add sealant. Finally, I'll tighten it with the channel locks, making sure the arrow is perfectly aligned with the direction of the water flow. In my case, that's the arrow pointing straight down. aligning to the arrow on the pipe. I'll feed the RJ11 side back into the screen enclosure, where I could then plug it into the receptacle on the bottom of the salt chlorinator. Immediately I see my no-flow light flashing because the pump is running at this time, and about 30 seconds later, we're back up and running. No doubt I have some manual work ahead of me to fix what's in the pool, and superchlorinate would probably also help. But I'm going to augment with shock powder. I'm going to dress everything back in now, but I'm going to take a moment. If you do not have an RJ11 crimper, you could use the end of this cable to make a test cable for future problems. So I cut a length off, and then push out that old cable, dress in the new cable, come around the other side, remove the old cable, replace it with the new one, bit of service loop held up on this pipe, and we're done with that portion. Taking that length of cable that was cut, strip off the end of it, and we'll find, of course, that there are only 2 wires inside. We need only strip these wires and short them together to make a test cable that can be used if there are future problems to rule out the main unit in testing. So I'll tie these cables together, and there's really not much to it. You could just use a wire nut if you wanted to, but I'm going to add some flux to these wires I tied together, and then let some solder wick into those tied cables. Then what I did was fold the wires onto itself and then put some outdoor rated heat shrink over everything. With everything shrunk down, I clamped off the top with my fingers, sealing the top portion and sealing both cables inside. The pump is running. I remove our flow switch and I will try our test cable now. The no flow light is showing, and as I plug it in, it's blinking and we know it's working. I caution never to leave this thing plugged in unattended. As we see it is generating now, if the pump was off and you had this plugged in, this could cause some serious damage to your system. So this is used for testing, and then you remove it, and that's it. So I'm pulling it out now. The no flow light comes back on, and I will plug the flow sensor right back in. And it starts blinking again as it should. And that concludes this video on the troubleshooting of no flow issues and the replacement of the flow sensor on this Hayward AquaRite salt chlorine generator. I hope you found this video enjoyable, entertaining, and informative. Remember to keep the end of that old cable as a test cable. Do me a favor and hit that like button down below. Helps me out a lot when you do. And hit that subscribe button for more videos like this when they come out. When the next video in this series comes out, a link will be posted in the top right corner. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?